Western script, Eastern reality. This is the algorithm. Rewrite the rules. January 11th, 2026. While the global middle class is still nursing a New Year's hangover, debating inflation and interest rates, the back-end data of geopolitics has already been completely rewritten. This isn't just a game of chess, it's a hard format of global physical assets. For 30 years, the East used checks, concrete, and millions of workers to weave a global web called the supply chain. But now, that web is being sliced open, inch by inch, by a scalpel labeled national security.
Rules. The moment you start talking about international law or trade agreements, you've already lost the race. In 2026, Washington has stopped playing these hypocritical games of civilization. The Beltway elites have finally woken up. Why fight a trade war? Why struggle with R&D competition? The simplest, most brutal, and most efficient way is physical occupation. You invested hundreds of billions in Iran. You lent tens of billions to Venezuela. You bought rare earth mines in Greenland. Fine. Now I declare those areas as military exclusion zones. Your ownership? Officially formatted to 0.
The code name for this liquidation is formatting. It's not about destroying the Earth. It's about recategorizing every critical resource node on the planet. Greenland's rare earths, Venezuela's heavy crude, Iran's lithium, and Colombia's geographical pivot. These 4 points are the 4 locks that will seal the Belt and Road dreams inside the first island chain forever. If 2025 was the beginning of chaos, then 2026 is the final audit.
Too many people are still fantasizing about win-win scenarios. Wake up. Resources are finite, and hegemony is exclusive. The East spent 20 years positioning itself globally, hoping to control resources to achieve de-dollarization. America's countermove is simple. Since you don't want to use dollars to buy resources, I'll make sure you can't even see those resources. These 4 coordinates aren't random. They are the blood clots in the East's global strategy. Pierce these 4 points, and the East's global circulation system suffers a fatal hemorrhage.
January 3rd, 2026. Venezuela. The country with the world's largest oil reserves changed overnight. Maduro's arrest wasn't just the fall of a regime. It was the collapse of the largest fragment of the East's energy map. Hundreds of billions in oil-for-loan agreements turned into worthless scraps of paper as the presidential palace in Caracas changed hands. The new interim government, backed by Washington, declared immediately, all overseas mineral contracts signed by the previous regime are now under re-audit. In plain English, the money you lent before doesn't count. The mines you think you own, I'm taking them back.
This is called precision default. The East thought controlling Maduro meant controlling the gas pedal, but they forgot that Venezuela's financial lifelines and technical spare parts never truly left Western hands. America is now taking over by force, re-injecting Venezuela's heavy oil into the dollar system. For the East, this isn't just a loss of hundreds of billions, it's the loss of their final anchor against the dollar in the Western Hemisphere. Without Venezuelan oil, the East's shadow fleet has to sail an extra 10,000 miles to find fuel. Those 10,000 miles of cost are enough to crush their industrial advantage.
Next door in Colombia, the story is even more ironic. This nation, once the bridgehead for the East to enter Latin America, received Washington's harshest ultimatum in 2026. The US drafted an exit list, demanding the Bogotá government sever all infrastructure cooperation with Eastern enterprises within 3 months, including ports and railways already under construction. The alternative? Total exclusion from the global financial system. Between survival and a distant investor, Colombia chose survival.
Colombia is the only South American nation with coastlines on 2 oceans. It is the critical gateway for the Belt and Road into America's backyard. The US is now slamming that door shut. You build a port here, I seize the land. You lay tracks here, I cut your financing. Colombia's betrayal marks the beginning of the total disintegration of the East's circle of friends in Latin America. Once this domino effect starts, nothing can stop it. Panama, Peru, Brazil, they will all see that when America gets serious about clearing the field, the East's checkbook cannot save your life.
While the world's attention is fixed on tropical fire lines, beneath the ice sheets of the Arctic Circle, a liquidation that will determine the next 50 years of technological hegemony has been completed. Greenland, the world's largest island, is no longer just a white wasteland on a map. In 2026, Washington officially declared Greenland under total strategic trusteeship. This move didn't just block a path, it snapped the East's polar Silk Road in half.
The East was clever. They knew long ago that whoever controls rare earths controls the heart of every microchip, missile, and electric vehicle. They poured billions into Greenland, placing their chess pieces in spots like Kvanefjeld, hoping to shatter the American resource monopoly. But they forgot one thing. Greenland is part of the North American defense perimeter. In 2026, America stopped talking about environmentalism and mining rights. Washington simply said, "This is a US military asset. Your investment? Sorry. For the security of the free world, it has been confiscated."
The fall of Greenland is a technological tsunami for the East. Greenland holds the planet's rarest heavy rare earth deposits, the East's final competitors in maintaining rare earth hegemony. By exerting physical control over Greenland, the US didn't just grab the resources, it seized the pricing power of the entire periodic table. From this moment on, the card the East played to threaten Western tech supply chains has officially expired.
This is what I call resource realignment. The US is building a completely de-Easternized supply chain. Greenland is the gateway to the Arctic. Control this, and every Eastern research vessel, freighter, and mining rig must surrender its manifest to the US military. You thought buying a mine gave you ownership? When the balance of power shifts, you were just an unpaid surveyor for the United States. With Greenland formatted, the East's high-tech industry is now locked inside a cage of raw material scarcity.
If Greenland is about locking the future, Iran is about strangling the present. In 2026, the situation in Tehran descended into a controlled chaos. The once famed $400 billion strategic pact collapsed into hollow rhetoric under the weight of internal and external pressure. Iran is more than just oil. It holds the world's second-largest lithium reserves, the lifeblood of the East's battery industry. But now that lifeline is being choked by a strategic US encirclement.
Iran was the East's final pivot in the Middle East, the ultimate blood clot in the Belt and Road. The US strategy is elegant. I don't need to occupy you. I only need to make you chaotic. As Iran fractures under sanctions and military posturing, and as the lithium and oil intended for the East stall behind an indefinite exercise in the Strait of Hormuz, the East's energy supply chain suffers a massive hemorrhage. The East thought they could use Iran to bypass the dollar system. Instead, America turned the entire nation into an energy island.
The 2026 audit of Iran is the bloodiest chapter. US-backed regional proxies have begun carving up Iran's physical assets. Lithium mining rights, once belonging to the East, are being seized under the guise of illegal contracts and re-auctioned to Western firms. The East spent a decade of blood and treasure here, only to be left with mountains of scrap metal that cannot leave the port.
This is the ultimate goal of formatting. America is proving that no matter how many agreements you sign or how much money you pump in, if your military force cannot reach it, your assets are abandoned property. The chaos in Iran is the funeral for the East's Middle Eastern strategy. When oil and lithium become phantoms you can see but never touch, the countdown for the East's industrial collapse begins. The winner isn't decided by foreign reserves anymore. It's decided by these formatted physical resources.
As the glaciers of Greenland seal off the tech future, as Venezuela's oil fields change masters, as Colombia's gateways slam shut, and as Iran descends into a terminal spiral, the global net of formatting has officially tightened. For the East, this is more than $1 trillion loss in investments. It is a terminal contraction of their strategic existence. As the world's resource nodes are audited and seized one by one, the East finds itself driven back into a barren, landlocked era of isolation.
The endgame of this match was written in the blood of physical control from day one. The East thought they could buy time with capital and trade strategic depth for checks, but they ignored the hegemon's red line. When you threaten the foundation of the dollar, America doesn't negotiate, it flips the table. This 2026 liquidation proves that no matter how magnificent your infrastructure is, if a US carrier is parked outside your port, that asset no longer belongs to you. The East is now facing the true test of internal circulation. Without the input of global resources, how long can their massive industrial machine keep spinning before it grinds to a halt?
This is the brutal reality of the global audit. Greenland, Iran, Venezuela, and Colombia form a perimeter of locks, isolating the East from the world's lifeblood. The war for survival has begun. They search for substitutes in Central Asia. They dig deep into their own soil for domestic demand. But without the fluid motion of global resources, every survival measure is merely a delay of the inevitable crash.
Look closely at the code. This is not a drill, this is formatting. If you are still fantasizing about the world returning to 2019, you are the next piece of data to be liquidated. In the coming world, there are only two kinds of people: the auditors, who hold the resources and rewrite the rules, and the audited, who watch their assets vanish from the screen until they become dead code. Which one do you want to be?
The global landscape has been rebooted. The logic of the old world has been permanently deleted. By watching this, you have grasped the core code of this formatting. But this is only the beginning. Every second from here on, the ownership of reality itself is in flux. If you refuse to become a formatted fragment in this global liquidation, if you seek the ultimate suit of armor in this fog of information, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this truth with those who are still dreaming.
Join the Eastern algorithm. Become one of the few who can see the code before it deletes you. The world has been formatted. Has your system been updated?